if I hadn't been a part of Men's Alliance and gone through Carry the Fire, I wouldn't have been ready to do that. You know, it was that training that you gave us that brought me to the point where I could do that. Because in the past, I was way too stubborn. Not just to ask for help, but to accept help.
Yeah.
Right? I would have stubbornly tried to fight through it myself.
All right, so who are you guys, and what are you doing here?
Yeah. Man.
So,
Introduce yourselves.
I'm Robert Heath, ref.
Oh, I have to do my... Oh. My name is Leon Martin, Popeye. You hear an accent. I'm not from America, no. Get that out of the way.
Is that a Boston accent?
No. Further. I'm from the Caribbean, from Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And what tribe are you in now, Ref? What tribe are you?
Bravo and Foundation.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Split
Bi-tribal.
between the two. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
During the season, I
Same, Bravo.
can't make it out to Bravo. So
Cool.
Yeah. All right. So I see you guys are representing
Yeah.
Witness FC. Dive right in. Let's tell us about what it is and then how you started it.
okay. So Witness FC is Virginia's first Christian soccer club. I founded it with my wife and another guy at the chapel. We incorporated it in 2023, but we didn't really get off the ground and get things going until last year in the summer. It took us a while to figure out what we were doing and do a lot of the planning, and I had no idea all the hoops you have to jump through to start a nonprofit and be allowed to ask people for money and all the different things we had to do. It was a lot. You know, I knew a lot about soccer already. I was good on that part, but figuring out how to run a business and handle that side of things has been a steep learning curve.
Yeah.
The idea came to me a long time ago, back when we lived in Lynchburg. I was refereeing a soccer match with a guy who's a little bit older than I am, and he told me a story about when he was a kid playing against one of our Christian schools in Lynchburg. And during the match, the other team was a little bit dirty. There was one player in particular who kept fouling him all game long. It was just a really dirty player. And then afterwards wanted to witness to him. Brought him a track and wanted to tell him about Jesus. And the guy was like, no way, man. The way you just behaved, I don't believe any of this. And still, like 30, 40 years later, that incident was a roadblock for this man.
That was
Like, that kept him from wanting to be a part of anything Christian.
Oh, my gosh.
Or have anything to do with Jesus. And so I just thought to myself, you know, we've got to have something to train these kids who are Christian, who are also playing soccer, that, you know what, they're representing something more than that, and they need to be better. But at the time, my wife wasn't behind me, and things just weren't working out. I see now, I think, why. I don't think God let me do it in Lynchburg for several reasons. One, I think I would have become arrogant, really arrogant. I would have thought it was all me. Because in Lynchburg, I knew everybody who had anything to do with soccer. And we had one club. And so to start another club in an area like that, and it wouldn't have taken much to be successful. Like, I would have thought it was all me. Doing it here, I've had to completely rely on God. Like, I have not been able to do this on my own. God has brought me people like Leon, and, you know, has brought my wife behind me and brought other people in touch with us that have just made this possible. And, you know, we moved here and I don't really know anybody. I mean, we've been here 5 years, and considering how big this area is, I really don't know anybody.
right. So this was a vision you had a long time ago that was kind of just God kept it on the back burner.
Yeah, probably about 10, 11 years.
Wow.
But
what was like the final green light where you were like, now's the time to pull the trigger.
Right. So we had been going to the chapel for about a year, maybe a year and a half. And I started serving with the motion team. And during motion conference, I met our other co-founder, Chris. And, we were, during motion conference, during one of the free times, we had some soccer balls out there. And, he was showing somebody how to rainbow. And so I was like, oh, cool, he's another soccer guy. So I went and started talking with him. And from there, we just kept on talking. And God brought it back up to me. And, he was like, yeah, that's a great idea. And he got behind it. He was getting excited about it. And then from then on, I went to, it was the first time I went to 21 Days of Prayer was that summer. And just at 21 Days of Prayer, I felt God speaking to me. And every message I heard, whether it was at Motion or at church or just listening to the radio, listening to K-Love, everything I just heard God telling me, take the step, take the step. You don't have to know how to do it all. Just take the step. Just start. And I really knew that God was telling me when my wife got excited about it. When my wife got behind me and she got excited about it, I knew this was God really speaking to me. Because before, my wife was like, no, you can't do that. What are you thinking? But then,
Yeah, you don't want to start something if your wife's not on board.
Yeah.
That's never a good idea. What changed to her? What was the difference?
I don't even know. All I know is when I brought it back up to her this time, she was excited about it. She wasn't just supporting me. She was excited. She was fully on board. She was like, yeah, let's do this.
Cool.
And, she's been a huge part of this. She writes the devotionals for us because with every practice, we do a devotion with the kids.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you are Richmond's first? Or
We're Virginia's first.
Virginia's
as far as
first.
I know, we're Virginia's first Christian soccer club.
Now you're in a league. you're like a regular team, but in a league of non-Christian, right?
right.
Like you didn't start like a whole league.
No,
you just got a team.
Yeah.
What's the name of the league that?
So our teams play in the Cross Association League, which is hosted by Richmond Kickers, who next year won't be anymore, but that's another story. So we play in their league. Also, Powhatan Fury plays in it. Ashland has a team in it. Colonial Heights, FC Richmond puts in some of their teams. So some other various small clubs add teams here and there. So it all depends on the particular age group who you're going to play against.
Okay. And what are the ages of your players? How old can somebody be and play
right
with
now?
SFC?
Right now, we have programs for kids 3 through 15. But we're looking to continually expand that. In the fall, we had younger kids teams that didn't play against other clubs. They just practiced and played with us. We call that our Cubs program. That's for our elementary aged kids. And then we had a U10 team, which is kids who were 8 and 9, and a U12 team for kids who were like 10 and 11. And those are the teams that played in the Cross Association.
Okay. Yeah. So, Popeye, how did you get into this? How did you get roped in?
Roped in. This dude here, we started going to Bravo, and I think we were like resting in between workouts or whatever it was, and one of the guys started throwing the football around. It's like, yeah, football, and he was like, no, that's not real football. And I was like, yeah. I was like, wait a minute. I listened to him again. He's like, yeah, that the real thing is when you kick it with your foot, you don't throw it with your hands. You don't touch it with your hands. I went over him. I was like, you play soccer? He's like, yeah. He's like, he refs to such and such. And I was like, really? I was like, I don't play anymore. I never played professional, but I played scrimmage all the time. And he's like, yeah, he plays and he refs as well. And then that just kind of sparked a whole fire.
Very cool.
Yeah.
During a Bravo Tribe workout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. definitely.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Is that what FC is? Football club?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the FC stands for football club, but it has a double meaning. So for us, it also stands for Christ.
Yeah.
So
Witness for
Witness
Christ.
Football
Oh.
Club, Witness for Christ.
Yeah.
Clever.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys need coaches? Do you have enough coaches? Or are you always looking for more?
We always need more coaches.
Yeah.
So right now, Leung and I are the staff coaches. And Carolyn Christian, who coaches the middle school girls over at Swift Creek Middle, has helped us out some. She's not able to commit to fully coaching the team for us. But so we rely on volunteer parents to coach. But one of the things that's unique about us is that we offer you an experienced licensed staff coach for half of your practices, which is different from what most rec programs do.
Yeah,
Most rec
what's a
programs,
staff
you just
coach?
get a random dad.
Yeah.
What's a staff coach?
Somebody who has experience playing and coaching, and for us also has a coaching license.
Yeah. I was going to say, when my kids played, it was always like, hey, anybody, any parents want to coach this?
Yeah.
And you'd always get the person who volunteered was never a person with soccer experience.
Right.
Right. They'd be like, oh, yeah, I'll volunteer to coach. You know, I coached their basketball last year. And you're just like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. And I take it your players are boys and girls?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, we have boys and girls. Right now, we don't have enough to do separate teams, so all of our teams are co-ed, which is pretty common with rec, especially when they're younger.
Yeah.
But our mission is to develop players who put Jesus first and witness by the way they play, by the way they practice, and just in their daily lives.
Man, that's awesome.
And so we're
What
doing-
does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean to the players? What do they do differently on your team than they would if they were on another team?
So to the players, we're trying to train them. We want to change kind of the culture and the environment around youth soccer. We want to train the players that, winning is great, but it's not the main reason you're here. That, if you win games, but you're a jerk while you do it, it's all for nothing. And we want to train them that the way they play matters more than the results.
Yeah.
So we're training them that, you're going to respect authority, whether that's your parents, your coaches, or the referees. They're not going to argue. They're not going to, be disobedient. They're going to honor and respect those authorities and their decisions. Which
Sometimes the parents need to hear this stuff. Right?
absolutely, yeah. And we tell the parents that at the beginning of the season. We have a parents meeting, and we talked with the parents about that we want you involved. We want you to cheer. We want everything to stay positive. We want our families, we want our players to be different than these other clubs out there. As a referee, I got sick of seeing matches where even with 9 and 10-year-old kids, the parents are screaming at the players, they're screaming at the coaches, they're screaming at the referees, the coaches are screaming at people. I'm like, this is a game. This is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be about the kids.
I'll tell you, man, before I gave my life to Christ, I was that soccer parent.
Yeah.
Oh, I look back on myself and I'm so embarrassed. I was like standing on the sideline yelling and screaming, and my wife was so embarrassed. And and you're all into it. You get so sucked in as the parent that you're not like seeing yourself,
Right.
and you don't have perspective, right?
Yeah.
And after giving my life to Christ, my wife told me, she was like, "You are so enjoyable to go to our kids' games with now." Like, I literally just sit in the chair beside of her, and we just kind of like I'm half into the game, and I'm half just talking to her, and then I clap a little bit, good job, and then we're talking, and she's just like, "You are a totally different person. Do you remember what you used to be like?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Don't remind me." But I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can easily get sucked into that.
Absolutely.
That's why I try to not pay attention too close. Because I want to be there for my son and stuff. But if I get super involved, I'm like, you just get upset at calls and how the refs just need to take their head out of their butts. You know what I mean? See, I can't even talk about it
worked
here.
up right now. Just calm down.
All right, let me
take a
take
deep
it
breath.
I mean, and to be honest, I think that's one of the other reasons I couldn't start it back there in Lynchburg, because I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Over these 5 years that we've been here, through serving and going to the chapel and through Men's Alliance as well, God's been working on me, and not just as a leader, but just in that aspect, what you were just talking about, what you guys were saying, because that was me. Even as a coach, when I had been refereeing for a while and then I started coaching again, and I am embarrassed to admit what my behavior was like.
Yeah.
That first season I went back to coaching high school soccer. There were matches, multiple matches, I should have been thrown out. And the only reason I wasn't is because the referees were friends of mine who I'd worked with.
Yeah.
And I am ashamed of the way I behaved. God convicted me of that, and I wrote them a long apology letter, and some of them forgave me, and some of them we were still okay. Some of them it changed our relationship after that. It just was never the same. And some of these guys were guys I had mentored as a referee. I had trained them, and the way I screamed at them was just unacceptable. And that's another big part of what we want to do differently with Witness FC. And that's honestly, that was something that was difficult for the both of us this fall, because we're both super competitive. And, I'm sure, having been a parent of it, and, I know you played as a kid, especially at the rec level, you don't always get the top officials.
No.
I was an official, so that
Were you?
Yeah.
proves. Yeah,
You ref
All right.
soccer games?
when I was a kid, yeah,
Oh, man.
like when I was a teenager.
Good money, right?
For
It
rec.
is.
Job.
Yeah, it was great for
Yeah.
kids, but
For those
you don't
teenagers out
get
there,
the
it's the
best
best
officials.
part-time
That's
job you can
my
get.
point. It's like, can you
Feedback is
right.
terrible.
yeah, can you blow a whistle? All right,
Yeah.
ref.
You get the new ones, right? And you
Yeah.
get the ones who aren't experienced, and you're lucky if you get somebody who's got experience. But so holding back this fall and I can honestly say I did not yell at a single referee, which is amazing. I made it through an entire season and didn't yell at a single one. And
Oh, yeah, you can't. Man, you're in
I
a
don't know
position
how I
where
did that,
you're like, oh, man.
all I can say is that was God.
Yeah.
Where do you guys get your refs from?
So our referees come from one of the two local assigning associations. There's CVSRA, and then there's MASRA. And I know the assigners from both of them very well, having worked for both of them and worked with them. But yeah,
That's cool.
I think
It was
if
a
I were
challenge.
going to be in a position that you're in, wearing Witness FC and standing there,
Yeah.
I would want to wear like a shock collar,
right.
and
your
give
wife-
my
your
wife
wife.
Dog training collars. Yeah.
If I start to raise my voice, you gotta
If your
buzz.
heart rate, if your heart rate gets above a certain level,
I wish I'd thought of that. That might have made it easier.
Yeah.
Have you guys noticed? So you played 2 seasons now.
We had a camp over the summer, and then
Okay.
we had our fall season. We're gearing up now for our spring season.
Okay, so you've had
Yeah.
one full season. So did you notice, was there a difference in the parents of your kids versus other teams you've coached in the past? Were like these parents noticeably better, or was it kind of...
No, I would say they were absolutely better. I would say our parents were, they were 100% on board with us, and they were very positive, very encouraging. I don't think I ever heard any of the parents say anything negative or yell at any referees.
A lot of it has to do too with them going to church at chapel as well. So
Yeah.
we see them on Sunday walking through the lobby. They wave, "Hey, coach!" It's like,
Yeah,
I see you.
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
It's like a whole culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So You said your mission statement
Yeah.
a minute ago. Say it again.
Okay. It's to develop players who put Jesus first and witness by the way they play, by the way they practice, and in their day-to-day lives.
Okay. And you said you do a devotion after every practice.
That's right. Yeah.
So is it like, are the devotions just kind of topical, or are they like strategically designed for these kids, or how do you come up with them?
So my wife Miranda writes them.
Okay.
And for the younger ones especially, so she's doing them differently for the younger ones, our Cubs program, than she is for our older kids program. For the younger kids program, she's making them more, I mean, they're all Bible-based, but she's making them more like story-based. We're just picking stories throughout the Bible.
Okay.
And then finding ways to relate to that to playing the sport. So it's cute. She put this section in it called Take It to the Field. So she goes through it and then has some questions with them, and then has a take it to the field and ends with a prayer with them. For the older kids, we've done a little bit more topical, picking out some scriptures that really relate to how we want them to behave, how we want them to approach the game, and how we want them to approach difficult situations. Like, how do you deal with the other team's being really dirty and the ref isn't calling it? Well, how do you respond to that? How do you witness through that? So we've had some devotions based on that. We did a devotion based on, the name of the club, Witness. What does it mean to be a witness? And, pick scripture out to go along with that and support that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I wish this would have been around when my kids were playing. We all could have used this.
Yeah. Did you say how many teams you guys have already?
Yeah, we currently, in the fall, we had two teams that played in the cross association, and then we had the younger kids we call the Cubs.
Yeah. Okay.
So they didn't really form teams. We would split them up randomly.
Okay.
And they would just play 3-on-3 after we did some fun games and drills with them.
How many times y'all practice?
The Cubs do once a week, and the older teams practice twice a week and then play on Saturdays.
Where do y'all practice at?
Bailey Bridge Middle School is the site the county gave us right now. We're hoping to outgrow that and need some more space.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what was the hardest part about being an entrepreneur and starting this thing from scratch?
Since there weren't a lot of startup costs, the hardest thing was just figuring out things like, well, how do we take payments? How do we make a website?
Yeah.
But the really most difficult thing for me was the state of Virginia and being allowed to ask for money. I had no idea, because I thought once we got established with the IRS as a nonprofit, because we got recognized as a 501c3
That's
nonprofit.
usually the
I thought that was
hardest
it,
part for
right?
most people.
I thought that was it. That part was easy compared to
Really?
getting permission from Virginia to be able to ask for money. Because I applied, because first I was applying for tax exempt status. And then I found out, well, no, you have to do this first. No, you have to go talk to this other department.
Oh, yeah.
And
Getting tax exempt status from the state of Virginia has been a huge obstacle
what?
for us as well. And it's run through a very odd
Right. It wasn't through a
department.
department you'd think. It was
it's like, what is it? Like agriculture?
Yeah. Wait, what?
Yeah. You got to contact the Virginia Agricultural Department. You're like, what?
Yeah. And like none of the instructions are online.
Yeah.
They don't
Like,
make
I
it,
didn't
they don't
find
make
out.
it easy.
I didn't find out till I asked for one thing. And they were like, no, you got to go do this first. Okay, well, how do I do that? Well, you got to talk to, like,
And you
why don't
probably
you
get-
just publish all this?
Yeah, you probably get 10 different answers from 10 different people on how to do it.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you did it. Now,
Yeah.
no, most soccer teams aren't nonprofits, right?
I don't know. Around here, most of them are actually
Oh, really?
nonprofit. Yeah.
Okay. So
Although somebody's making a lot of profit, but the club isn't.
okay. So that they can, take donations from businesses so it can be a tax deduction
right.
for the business. Okay.
Yeah.
So who all supports Who are you guys supporters?
Right now, we are supported by the chapel as a ministry partner.
Cool.
We are supported by Tom Love, aka Doc, and the Main Street Group. And then G-Man and his wife Glow, they've also made contributions to support us.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have like their businesses on the back of the jersey? How does that work?
Yeah, so that's my wife was working on that. So she has I can't remember all the different levels, but she has different levels set up so that at a certain level we put a link, we put a thank you and a link on our website to your website.
Okay.
And then the level of, I can't remember what the level above that is. I should remember that though. But at the top level though is when you get, that's right. The level above that, we'll put your business name and link on the website, and we'll put your name and your business logo on one of the tents, as we set up the canopy tents when the kids play. So we'll put your name and your business logo on that, and then the top level is where you'll get your name on the jerseys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember my kids.
We don't have anybody at that level.
My kids used to have Chicken Fiesta.
Right. Yeah.
Chicken Fiesta on their jerseys.
That's right.
So was it scary taking this leap to decide?
Absolutely.
So I'll go back because I remember when you were just finishing up Carry the Fire.
Yeah.
Right at the end of Patch Class was when you were talking to me about this.
Yeah.
And pulling the trigger. What is it you think was the closest thing to holding you back? Right? Like, what would you say is probably likely to hold back others?
I think just for me, it was just the being afraid of not knowing how it's going to turn out and being afraid of failing at it. But, God has been so faithful through it and shown me that, I really have called you. You don't have to worry about it. Mm-hmm. You just need to do what I ask you to do. I'm going to take care of the details. You don't need to worry about that. And he's shown us that time and again. As we planned for the camp, because that was what we were first doing when I first talked to you about it. Mm-hmm. We were planning for the camp. And, we got our website set up and we've got registration set up and we got one kid signed up. And we're waiting. We got a second kid signed up. We're like, man, it's going to cost us $600 to rent the field.
Yeah.
We got 3 kids now. What are we going to do? How's this going to work? And I just, but I just had to trust him, and he came through and he packed out the camp.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
We had 50 kids sign up.
Oh, that's great.
We had 48 show up to camp. We had 50 sign up for it.
When did
it was amazing.
When did it take that leap from 3 to packed out?
About 2 weeks before camp was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's great.
So I just had to be patient. And then we went through the same process in the fall, waiting for kids to sign up. Like, I don't know. Maybe this isn't going to work. Maybe I didn't really hear God telling to me. Maybe the camp was just a fluke. And the devil was just coming at me with those doubts the whole time. But you know what? God showed up and he filled up the 2 teams and he filled up the Cubs program. And not only did he fill it up with the kids, especially the camp, not only did he fill it up with the camp, but, he brought me people like Leong and Carolyn and Chris, who just have been cheering us on. And he brought us a bunch of high schoolers who were willing to give up a week and volunteer to come out, and not in the afternoon, not in the evening, but to get up early in the summer and come out and work with these kids. And not just come out and go through the motions, but these guys and girls, they were excited, and they brought energy, and it was just awesome. And at the same time, I had just gone through surgery. I had to have spinal fusion, so I wasn't even really supposed to be out there. But I walked around. I did more than I was supposed to.
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to be bending or lifting anything, but I went out there and I God taught me through that. I need to let go of control.
Oh, yeah.
I don't need to be in charge of everything. I don't need to manage everything. Just trust the people I've brought around you.
Yeah.
That was the lesson God taught me with that.
Amen. Has money gotten in the way of how God can use you? Let me tell you about Tom Love, certified financial planner with the Main Street Group. Tom Love from Tuckahoe Tribe, a.k.a. Doc, can absolutely get you squared away with your finances. My wife and I use Doc to handle our personal finances, and his team is second to none. Tom is a certified financial planner. He's a Dave Ramsey SmartVestor Pro. He's been ranked top 40 under 40. He's been ranked number 2 in Richmond Times-Dispatch. He's been featured in the Wall Street Journal. And make sure you mention Men's Alliance whenever you reach out to Doc. He gives Men's Alliance, Tip of the Spear Ministries, a portion of the proceeds when you invest through him. He's a fee-only fiduciary, which means he doesn't make money unless you make money. So check out Tom Love at the Main Street Group.
And it was amazing.
That's been one of my biggest themes, I guess, in Men's Alliance is you talking about like God bringing these people to you. That's been the total Men's Alliance story is God bringing these different people into this ministry that I could have never gone and found on my own. But like they came to me, and then like I've learned the more I let go,
right,
the better things get.
Yeah.
Right. Because the more we try to control and the more we try to keep on our own plate, we're dividing up our own bandwidth in very small chunks. But if you give stuff to different people on your team, man, they can give that thing like all their bandwidth. Right. So then that thing is better because I gave it to this guy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I never could have made it this good, right? And it sounds like you're saying the exact same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I hadn't been a part of Men's Alliance and gone through Carry the Fire, I wouldn't have been ready to do that. It was that training that you gave us that brought me to the point where I could do that. Because in the past, I was way too stubborn. Not just to ask for help, but to accept help.
Yeah.
Right? I would have stubbornly tried to fight through it myself. I mean, like, oh, I had surgery, so what? I'm still going to go train these kids.
Yeah.
So this wasn't going before Carry the Fire. You hadn't started yet.
No, this was after. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like your deployment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly
right
what it was.
Yeah.
When you were talking about it.
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. This is a amazing deployment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for Popeye, what is your favorite thing about doing this?
There's a lot of favorite things. Seeing the joy on the kids' faces. I love soccer. I grew up playing soccer, so I know the love that I have for it.
Yeah.
And then seeing these kids, and a lot of them, they come by and they have zero skill, and then 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, they're doing things that they never did when they first came in. They didn't want to run on the field. They're running, they're chasing the ball, they fall down, they get back up, and they're laughing. And I'm like, man, it's a fulfilling feeling looking at them doing what you love to do, and you're getting to impart that with that knowledge onto them. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, assuming you guys both have other jobs as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your day jobs? What do you guys do?
I'm a high school chemistry and physics teacher.
It's pretty huge. Chemistry.
Heisenberg.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah, I'm into construction, carpentry, general construction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do either of you have kids that are playing soccer?
All three of my daughters have played soccer. My oldest is already out of college and married. She's not playing anymore. My younger two are still playing. Abby would love to have a team with Witness FC. She and her friend Erin, they both volunteered at our camp, and they both helped us with our Cubs program. They are actively trying to recruit so they can have a team. They've both been travel soccer players, but they want to play with Witness FC, even though it's rec.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
And my middle daughter, Clara, she's talking about maybe putting the team together next year with some of her friends to play with Witness her senior year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Any?
Yeah, he's almost 20 in
Okay.
March. Yeah, he played, well, we moved from New York, so he played in New York, and then came here, played for Henrico High School, captain of the team, all that good stuff. And, well, he isn't playing anymore. He's trying to pursue a soccer career. It's not going as he planned. I told him, just trust God, trust the process, and if it has to happen, it'll happen for him.
Yeah.
I did a volunteer coach for Henrico as well, so
Okay.
I was one of those people that screamed at referees and almost got thrown out twice and all that good stuff.
I'm glad to hear you say that because now we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Nate, his son, was one of our coaches for the summer
Oh, cool.
camp.
Yeah, he was,
and he was great with the kids.
Yeah.
You know, we'd love to get him more involved. But
Yeah. He's like, that's
He'll
not my
come around.
thing, but I was like, he'll come around, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just, the kids at that age, he's like, I can't deal with those kids at that
Yeah,
age. But for the camp, in 100-degree heat, he was out there with them, cheering them on, taking care of them and all that, nurturing them. So I was like, I'm going to give him a minute and then we'll see.
Yeah.
He'll come around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old did you say he is?
He'll be 20 in March.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as we were gearing up for all this too, one thing we did was I met with KJ and I met with Joel and talked with them about it. And so one of the things we did, they had suggested we started a small group at the chapel first. So we did that, and Leong and Nate were a big part of that. They came alongside us and helped us lead that. We did a small group for elementary age kids. We called it Kicks for Christ. And so they came and we did, fun games and drills with them, and then Miranda did a Bible lesson with them at the end of it. So that's where we started it out.
Okay.
And just to kind of, I guess, dip our toe in the waters
Yeah.
and see what it's like, and see, hey, wait, can we really do this? And and then after that, we launched into the camp and then our fall season. So
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's the most challenging part of doing this? What's your biggest challenge in this?
It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. One of the biggest challenges for me, like I said, has been letting go. And a big part of that has been letting go and letting my wife do the things she wants to do. Part of me was afraid that if I let her do it, it's not going to turn out how I wanted. But I've learned that I just need to trust how God has gifted her, because God has gifted her with different talents than he's gifted me with.
Yeah.
And I need to let her do her thing. And even if that means, the two of us need to come together and kind of hammer some things out, smooth some things out before we put it out there, that can't happen unless I let her work. Right. And I need to give her that freedom to work. She's been a big part of the creative side of this. She creates images for our website. She creates all the ads that go out on Facebook and Instagram. She's created flyers that we're putting up that, and she's gotten us co-sponsorship with the county. So we're approved to send flyers even to some of the schools, which is awesome.
Yep.
We can officially send flyers about a Christian organization to the
That's
elementary
amazing.
schools. That's
Yep.
great. Yeah. That was all her, and, I've been insistent that, no, you have to have a different job. You have to have a real job. And that was keeping her from being able to do this. Not that she doesn't work. She does work, but I was insistent, no, you have to have this certain full-time job and do this. And that was just taking away all of her energy and sapping her resources. And so that's been one of the biggest challenges for me, is just trusting her to do her part, but also trusting God that, he's going to provide for us.
Yeah.
He's going to take care of us. I don't need to worry about that.
Making that decision. So what I'm hearing you say is you made a decision for her to be able to just go all in
Yeah.
with Witness FC, even though that means losing some monthly income.
Yeah,
But now she's got more to give,
that's right.
right?
Yeah.
That's a scary place to be when anybody starts any kind of a new business, right?
Yeah.
But you don't regret it. It's
No,
going
not
better
at all.
now.
I don't regret it at all. But I'm sorry I didn't do it sooner.
Really.
You know, but something that really helped me with that was going through Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I went through Freedom, that fear just melted away.
Is there anything easier than you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, I think finding the field space was easier than I thought it would be. Again, Miranda did a lot of the work on that. You know, I didn't think we were going to get anything.
Right.
I mean, as many teams and clubs are fighting for field space in this county, I thought we weren't going to get anything. I thought, you know, I was desperately looking around going, okay, who's got a field? Who's got some space I can use? I mean, I went down, I was talking to different private schools. Hey, can we use your field? Can we use your field?
We were asking churches.
Yeah, asking churches if they had any space we could use. And then, you know, Miranda, like I said, just got in touch with the county, got us certified as co-sponsors with Parks and Rec for the county, and that got us a field space, and it was great. You know, it was like, wow, okay.
Is there anybody doing anything like this in other states?
Yes, I know there are some Christian teams, clubs down in North Carolina.
Okay.
I know there's the Charlotte Eagles, who actually were founded in California, I think it was, and then they've spread to North Carolina and a couple of other states as well. We found a Christian club in Ohio, and I think we found one in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Doesn't Uprise do soccer?
Upward does do soccer, but
Is
they're
it
not
Upward?
a
Yeah.
soccer club.
Okay.
They're just a kind of a self-contained program like
Like a
I-9.
Yeah, okay,
Where
yeah,
it's
that's right.
all in-house. They don't play against anybody else. They don't go
Right,
play
right,
other
right,
teams.
right. Yeah, they all play each other. It's like intramural. Right.
Right.
So I feel like I would be being dishonest if I withheld the information that I played for the Charlotte Eagles on their U16 team.
Oh, really?
It's pretty cool.
One summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, one summer played with them. That was when they were in, I think the league was USISL.
Yeah.
It was either USISL or NASL.
Well, USISL is the U.S. Indoor Soccer League.
Okay. Maybe it was NASL,
But yeah, there's
North American Soccer League. It was something like
been
that,
so
right?
many-
But it was,
yeah.
you know,
there's been so many different
one of
leagues.
those. Yeah.
They're all different now.
So anyway, yeah, that was a cool experience, and it was a lot of what you're
Nice.
talking about, learning about how to keep your testimony
Yeah.
and, you know, set an example so that people come up and, you know, you want to be approached
Right.
and talked to because there's something clearly different about the way you play the game.
Right.
But
yeah.
I feel like what you've done here is something that I think listeners are going to want to do in their area. Right. And so I'm hoping people hear this podcast and contact you guys saying, hey, I want to start one of these in my area. And you guys have already invented the wheel. How can I do it? Right. Because, and not just for soccer, right? I think we could probably use something like this. You have found a
Absolutely.
way to get your foot in the door and influence kids
Yeah.
in such a positive way for life as well as for Christianity.
Right.
I had lunch yesterday. Yeah, yesterday I had lunch with a guy who was a former high school football coach. And there's just this whole dynamic that shifted in our country over the past few years, but for so many young teenage guys in America, football coaches have been role models, mentors, sometimes dads, right, for kids that don't have any of this. And they're not just learning how to play that sport, they're learning important life skills. They're learning discipline and integrity and teamwork and all these different things. And he was talking to me about how he's seen this just totally erode over his lifetime of coaching sports.
Yeah.
And this past season of coaching high school football, he was like, that's my last. I'm done. So, and then it's neat that today, talking with you guys, and there's just such a void in our country, not just of dads, but of just these kind of life skills that you guys are giving to them, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't yell and scream when you don't get your way.
Right.
And if you can learn that as a kid on a soccer field, that will help you when you're working in an office one day.
Right.
Or whatever it is you do. You've got to learn how to pass the ball, how to get an assist in life. You got to learn how to, do all those things. Like you said, get up early and be there. And just all these great lessons that team sports teach. But you guys are doing it, plus the devotions. So I'm hoping people hear this and contact you guys, and more Witness FCs, can start up around the country, because I think you've really tapped into something here with just incredible return. You guys are gonna, be hearing from these kids in 20 years, whose lives you totally changed.
And this isn't outsourcing these things to. These are things that we're teaching our kids in our house, or you should be. But every parent needs to know and realize, and probably does, that we all need somebody in our kids' lives that's saying the same stuff we are, but hearing it from somebody else.
Absolutely.
And that's usually coaches. If you can find a good one, your kids are gonna be influenced by a coach, either a good one or a bad one. So it's great if you can, if parents want to get involved, and you guys are being that for parents. Like, they'll come home, Dad, ref said this and this and this, isn't that great? It's like, that's great. I've been telling you that every day. But that's just how we all know. That's just how it works.
You guys have sometimes a better podium,
right?
Than the parents.
Yeah.
And so, where can people find out more? What's your website? Where are you active?
Our website is witnessfc.net.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can find out all the information about us there, or you can email us at witnessfc@gmail.com.
Okay. Witnessfc.net.
Yep.
And witnessfc@gmail.com.
That's right.
All right, guys. Any last comments? Anything you want to tell a listener?
We would really appreciate your prayers. Prayers for our success, for guidance, for support, and then that's the main thing we need. Is that's the most important thing, obviously, is prayer. We also need, like you said, we need coaches. We need volunteers to come out and help, because an organization like this is run by volunteers. And that's how we keep costs low for the kids, because we want to be able to provide quality soccer to families without making them take out a loan. So that's one of the ways we think youth sports is kind of gone off the rails. And from what I hear from some of the other dads, soccer's not even the worst.
Yeah.
Some of them have told me the other sports are even more ridiculous. But so prayers. We need volunteers.
Yep.
Donations.
We need businesses to sponsor us, and private donations are great too. Businesses, it's great. I mean, it's a tax write-off for anybody. And then, if you're a parent with kids who are interested in soccer, sign them up, send them out. We're open not just to Christians, to any players. You don't have to be a Christian to play for us. Just know that you're going to be taught by people who are teaching you from a biblical perspective.
Yeah, and also for playing rec.
Yeah.
you're probably going to get better coaching from you guys
That's our goal.
because you have these licensed coaches that actually know the sport of soccer.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, I mean, it's not even just about the devotions, as great as that is. You're also going to get high quality soccer coaching. So, man, that's awesome.
Definitely.
Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. This has been really cool. I was looking forward to hearing this story, and it was great. So we'll put this in the show notes, and if you're listening to this podcast, click on it and go help out Witness FC.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Hey guys, listen up. I've got huge news. This coming May 2nd through 4th, we are having our first ever Men's Alliance National Rally. This is going to be the biggest, greatest gathering of barbarian ambassadors from every tribe all over the country coming together for one weekend in a state park. You can come camp out or you can stay in a local hotel, but it is going to be an incredible time. We want every tribe across the country to road trip to this rally. We are bringing you the absolute best speakers in the country. Greg Kokel, author of Tactics, founder of Stand to Reason. He will be a headlining speaker along with Stephen Mansfield, New York Times bestselling author of Band of Brothers, which has helped me start Men's Alliance. He's also the author of Men on Fire. We're going to have Pastor Brian Hughes from Passion Community Church there leading us on Sunday morning worship service outdoors. It's going to be incredible. We're going to have the Barbarian Games at the rally Friday night with live metal music performed by Saved by Scarlet. Then Saturday morning is the first national all tribes. It's going to be epic. Go to our website, click on National Rally, get your tickets. It's going to fill up. It's going to be a great time of outdoor camping, music, workouts, speakers, and sharpening one another. Don't miss the rally. To find out more about what we're doing and to join us on our mission, go to men'salliancetribe.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a 5-star review.